welcome back to Block TV, where it is time for Blockchain on Booze, that famous, fabulous segment where we get the wheelers and dealers of the sphere and try to have them answer questions while staying sober. Joining us today, it's a power team. We've got with us Yaniv Feldman, partner at Juno Capital Fund. Hello to you. Of course, next to him, the lovely and one and only Rena Thomas, Chief Development Officer at Vegan Nation. Pleasure to be here. We cannot do this without Moti Pe'er, founder of Blonde 2.0 PR firm.
Happy to be here again.
Ecstatic to have you. And of course, today we're going to let you speak a little less. And of course, we can't do this without Agadan Emeli, General Manager of 21M Capital. Hello to you. Folks, there's so much to discuss today, and I can't wait to get to the end of this show because we got a surprise for you. But please, let's start with debacles. Tether and Bitfinex continue to get bogged down in allegations. So I'm going to quote, pardon me, CryptoBlock to you. Count this as the latest revelation to emerge in the Bitfinex battle with the New York Attorney General. Tether, a stablecoin that has overlapping management and ownership with Bitfinex, admitted this week the company has historically used some of its reserves to make investment in Bitcoin and other assets, according to court documents obtained by the block. It's the latest insight from a recent court proceeding into the operation of Bitfinex and Tether, two entities that have played a major role in crypto markets whilst operating mostly opaquely. All this, of course, on the heels of that New York Attorney General hitting Bitfinex hard, issuing that court order, which I can't wait to discuss with you guys. I want to ask first, though, what do you guys, there were so many rumors about Tether, okay? Everyone's like, Tether is crap, Tether is doing this. What do you think this will do to Tether to begin with? Please.
So I'll take that, but before, I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate Bran the Broken for winning Game of Thrones.
Wow.
Becoming the king of the Six Kingdoms. Additionally, I would love to congratulate Bran.
No spoiler.
Master of the coin, who just became an advisor for
My
Vegan
heart
Nation.
is pounding right now.
And overall, very good show, just to wrap up the discussion, and I'm very pleased.
You're never coming back.
As
Wow.
for
Please,
Tether, obviously there is a paradox here, seeing how they're actually, taking the money, a stable coin, investing it in one of the least stable coins of them all. Nevertheless, I don't think that they are pegging Tether to Bitcoin. Obviously, there is something wrong here, but that's up to the regulators. So I will let them do their thing.
And this question is about the regulators, because and you need to let me for a sec, because we were going to go the same way. There is no regulation, definitive regulation, and there's something that to me is jarring about the New York Attorney General's office imposing or trying to impose and enforce a law that they won't regulate.
Right, but I think there's a deeper problem over here, and that is stable coins. And I was on the panel a few months ago discussing stable coins, and I was saying how you cannot have this revolutionary technology that is supposed to reinvent economic markets everywhere being, a bridge to an old system we're trying to get rid of. And this is a live example of the ramifications when we try to fit a new and revolutionary technology, really, to an old system.
Again, I'll play devil's advocate. Sometimes you beat the system within the system. I don't know if you've heard that
but
line
we
ever.
see that the bridge is unbridgeable because they're two separate worlds, and it's a live example for me about how stablecoins is not a thing that's going to remain much longer. It is a thing of the past, mostly.
I completely disagree.
Obviously, you were on a panel of stablecoins advancing it, but I don't agree
Don't
with
go back. Yeah, go.
Listen, I think that you cannot do a jump in space between these two worlds as they're an evolution of each other. You can't move from a coach to a spaceship. You have to have something in between bridging that. You have to have people who are already in an existing world start to understand the new world that we're going to. You can't transition from centralization to decentralization overnight, and it won't happen. And in order for some of it to happen, you need to be able to have some kind of a transition vehicle that will allow people to play in both courts.
Okay, and that transition vehicle, how well did it turn out to be? Is there really any stable coin that is actually stable, that is actually backing and pegged to stable assets? No, everybody's operating in a completely untransparent environment. They're
That's
not
not true.
disclosing anything.
Not true.
Okay.
Can I just
Tether-
argue one thing about transparency? There are those who would argue that, Bitfinex and Tether have been working not in a transparent way.
They
No,
are still transparent. All
With
their
that-
funds
I
are
agree.
going to the
That's
Virgin
true,
Islands.
but
With
it
that,
doesn't mean
I
that
agree.
the entire concept is wrong. It just
Exactly.
means that it needs to be transparent. People can decide that they want to invest in or to have their money or their assets in a stable coin, and they'll choose the one that is most transparent. Apparently, people today don't really care so much because Tether was not affected at all.
Why do we think Tether was not affected almost at all?
You see the price peg. During the investigation, the peg dropped a little bit below $1. But ever since the bull market or the latest rise started, Tether was traded at 105, where all the other stable coins were traded below the dollar.
Yeah.
So again, that's the market responding. And just in response to what Rina said, and I agree with you completely about Tether. They're completely opaque. They're not transparent, and they're the bad way of looking at it. But look at all the other alternatives: USDC, Gemini Dollar, Paxos, and even DAI for that matter, where everything is on chain. All the decisions are on record and open to the outside world. There's complete transparency. The thirst-free are audited and audited on a monthly and sometimes even online basis. So the fact that the first player in the system got it wrong, MySpace got it wrong, Friendster
The
got it
first
wrong.
and the biggest and the most dominant. But what I will say about
MySpace
Tether,
were the most dominant in
But
a
it's up
certain point in
for
time as well.
users to decide otherwise, and until that happens, then they remain.
but it's
the
up to
largest-
them to inform users and to be transparent,
true.
like their
That's
mission
true.
statement declares. Now, I will say something about Tether is that the fact that they use Bitcoin as a asset that they back Tether with backs my hypothesis from a few months ago, where I was saying that we will see stable coins that are stable because they have a diverse portfolio of cryptocurrencies, not fiat currencies. I think we're gonna start seeing more stable coins that are stable because they diversify their portfolio with a plethora of cryptocurrencies.
But in a market
not
that everything
fiat
moves along with
assets.
Bitcoin, it doesn't really diversify, right? Everything moves with Bitcoin. Bitcoin goes up, everything goes up.
All the
Bitcoin goes
Bitcoin-
down.
I wouldn't say that is the patterns that everybody agrees with or sees.
It's not a
You
matter
could-
of agreeing, it's
No,
a
but
matter
it's
of
okay.
data.
It's not true though that when Bitcoin goes up, everything goes up. It's when Bitcoin goes up, everybody's optimistic and everybody thinks that things are going up. I don't.
Data-wise,
It's a fact.
data
I want to
wise-
raise
Science
something,
is
guys.
not on
Look,
their
no,
side
no,
of that.
I want to give you an example. We had apropos Consensus 2019, which clearly we covered for the first time on BLOCKTV. I'm going to say it again. I know. We had a chance there to interview several people, and some of the analysts told me, some of the speakers off camera, like, you know what, crypto is Bitcoin, Bitcoin is crypto. None of the rest matter. And it was something I heard from several people, I'm not going to name them, but who've been in the sphere for a while, or some of them just financial traders and analysts with 30, 40-year experience. And they're looking at the one survivor. I mean, that's literally, do you guys agree with that notion, or is that...
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And we always go back to the same discussion. Is crypto
life, honey,
Bitcoin
and we never
is
decide.
Bitcoin crypto? And absolutely not. We're just waiting for good use cases, for strong communities to emerge with their official currency. And we see it with Veganation. We see people rallying around vegan coin because it's a token with a utility and a strong community backing. And time will tell. Nobody has a crystal ball to tell the future. And I think that patterns and
I'm just going to argue on that, and
you
I'm going
know,
to say this
global
directly
climate
to Moti. Okay.
is
Yeah, well,
indicating otherwise.
Yeah, go ahead.
Obviously, Bitcoin has about 58% of the cap share, so it is crypto, and crypto is Bitcoin, Bitcoin is crypto, and whatnot. As far as Tether, listen, I believe that if it's ain't broken, you don't need to fix it. However, and it works, and people believe in it, and
The peg maintains.
it works. So I think that some regulation is necessary in order to gain confidence, and in order to bring, something that we discuss every time, to bring the masses to crypto. Some regulation is necessary. Tether works, and I would like to see it,
You think
continue to
Tether is
flourish.
surviving this? You think in the long run it will survive? Well, it does show as if it is.
I think so. Yes.
It is surviving this. I mean, Bitfinex with the whole debacle
It
just
just
raised
launched-
$1
it
billion.
just
$1
raised
billion, yeah.
So
How does it? Can
People
somebody explain
still-
that to me?
no. Can you explain that to me?
No, that's the thing.
I can't
We can't
explain
figure
it.
this out. I mean, this is bad PR, apropos, bad press.
I can
Yeah.
offer the financial aspect of investing in that specific project.
Okay, then
which
tell us.
basically the people who bought these tokens get 24% or 27% of Bitfinex's annual revenues, which last year concluded around $400 million, which makes sense until they buy back the tokens. If they get the $850 million that are missing back, or if not from the revenues themselves. But having $100 million annual going into your pocket is not a bad thing.
If you trust the people that are supposed to give you the 100 million, and that's the question, because when you decide to make an investment, it's not only like how you calculate your economic.
I agree on that side. Yeah.
So honestly, I don't know who invests and why they decided to invest in that. It's quite shocking to me, especially on the back of what happened with the 850 million. I don't know. It feels like people are giving
some would
a
argue
premium
that
to
it means that the market's maturing, that people are getting more comfortable with headlines as such, and they don't necessarily are just motivated by them, but they seem to understand.
I think
the
they're
market.
motivated by. I think it works the opposite way. People get a premium for being, I don't know, hacks or.
Yeah, there's
So
the
I
whole.
think it's too early to say if Tether is going to survive this or not, because it's fairly recent. I will say that Tether as an institution or as a company did want to take on the role of a central bank, if you may, of the crypto world. They were trying to be the leader of stabilization and transparency and management of this new economy.
Right.
And they have been completely disappointing. They have funneled millions and hundreds of millions of dollars to the Virgin Islands, going through back alleys with deals with Bitfinex, and it doesn't show well, and my trust in Tether has completely vanished.
Trust
And
is
I
a
think
main
more
issue.
people are going to trust them less. But their whole business model is based on trust. So
finances
are
are
they
based
going
on
to
trust.
survive this? I don't think so.
No, and it's
As
an
a
interesting-
crypto company, where is your bank account? Where is your
We
bank
have
account?
a bank account with an Israeli bank, with a Swiss bank, with a UK bank. We could go into specifics after.
Okay.
I
After,
don't
but
feel
not
a
on
need
the air.
to disclose this
No, but
on,
opening a
TV.
bank account for a crypto company or for a crypto business is something very, very hard.
It is
especially,
hard.
Especially when it's a money transmission business and it's a money that a lot of cash is going through it. It's not something that can be done. Again,
But you have options in Europe. You don't have to go to Taiwan or the Virgin Islands that are known to be funnelers of drug money, of terror money.
Show me one exchange besides Coinbase that has an account in Europe. You can't, because they won't open.
So fuck exchanges. I'm sorry, excuse my language. So they should
Wait,
go
wait,
to
but
hell and
speaking of
burn there as
exchanges,
much
guys,
as
I want-
possible, like
what would I
Vitalik
do
said.
with a vegan coin without an exchange?
You could buy it on the Veganation platform. At the end of the ICO, it will just be bought and sold between vegans. I don't think that you need exchanges per se to facilitate
how would you
crypto
off-ramp?
transactions.
To pay
How-
for things.
How
in
can I buy
dollars.
vegan coin? How can I buy vegan coin? With
Right
what?
now, you could buy it on our platform.
With what?
with fiat,
Then you're a money
euro-
transmission business and your accounts will be closed again.
What are you talking about? We're
If I can buy crypto with fiat and your platform, then you're a money transmission business.
I don't think that's true, and we're fully regulated by the UK, by Israel, and
And speaking of Game of Thrones, I just want to say that Braun has been promoting them. You, my dear
Not true.
Manuoti, are not skating by lightly. We will get to that at the end of the show, and I suggest you become very scared. Bran, really? Bran, hold on. That said, next up, because we are speaking about exchanges, and you're holding strong, my dear, Bitfinex, apropos, and Ethfinex, two of the world's leading digital asset exchanges, have announced the launch of Tokenex, their new initial exchange offering, IEO platform. Now, Tokenex allows qualified users to discover and participate in curated, pre-vetted token sales from new and exciting projects. The platform has been built with ease of user experience at its core, with KYC for each sale completed using the BlockPass mobile app and funds directly contributed from personal exchange wallets. Big news.
Yeah.
Why?
I think that the IEO trend we already discussed is something that has been slowly replacing ICOs.
Is that a good thing?
I'm not saying it's a good thing, but
Okay.
I'm not saying it's a good thing. Obviously, they're the same.
It's a step up, isn't it?
The only step up was
it's a step. I don't know if it's a step up.
solved-
It's a
it solved-
step sideways.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think it solved a couple of big problems that ICO had that weren't the main problem, that they have no use case and most of them are scams. But one of the two main problems that ICOs had were liquidity and vetting process. Not everyone can raise money and scam
Right.
other people. And IEO platforms basically provide or say they provide these two things. Because on the one hand, they provide KYC, they provide a vetting process for the projects that come into these kind of platforms. We saw a few that were canceled due to insufficient trust. And on the other hand, they provide the most important thing for investors, which is almost immediate liquidity post-raise. One of the biggest
This is
problems
what everyone is looking for.
one of the biggest problems that ICOs in a previous wave had was that you invested, and basically most of the investments were, do I think this company will ever reach an exchange? Not will they mature, not if they'll build a
Will I
product,
even get
not
to
whether,
an
not
exchange?
whether,
Yeah.
When Binance, when
Yeah,
exchange,
yeah,
when
exactly.
Binance, when Binance,
That-
when
that's-
Boon,
that's what
when
you would see in
Binance,
all
when
the
exchange.
telegrams.
I completely agree with you that I know, shocking. I agree with you, but listen on what I agree. I agree that we need a vetting process for ICOs so that not everyone could raise money, absolutely. But after hearing what Tether did and what they're being investigated for, what they're being accused of, do we really trust Tether to be the vetter? No. So we have to find
That's
a
a
new
Don't invest in
vetting
IEO and
mechanism.
Bitfinex. You don't have to. You don't
Correct,
have to.
but she was
Invest
asking
in
about
IEO
whether this is a
with
good thing.
with another exchange.
Correct. She was asking those specifically
On
about
this one,
Tether,
it will, in that respect,
specifically
why
about
this is
this,
good.
and I was saying that I
Okay.
don't trust them to vet ICOs because I don't trust them as an institution. They're not transparent. They don't back up what they do and what they show, and so
No, the vetting, what did you say in that respect? The vetting was,
the
what?
vetting is necessary. We need
No, but the vetting with Bitfinex was not, what came up is what came up.
They used Tether funds to cover
No,
their
we know
losses.
that's
They're
as-
not transparent. They mess around with trading volumes. I wouldn't trust their word. You should invest in this. Why should I trust them?
While I don't disagree here, okay, just take
Wow.
no, I don't disagree. Just take the real world equivalents and see how many IPOs were underwritten by JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and all these other companies that were fined in billions
Yeah,
of dollars.
Absolutely. And I worked for JP Morgan, and I say every day, I'm working to see them disappear off the face of the earth. And the response to that
So
is decentralization and transparency. And Tether is obviously not living up to those ideals.
If you're putting Tether and Bitfinex on the same plateau at JP Morgan, we're fine.
Yes,
Okay.
I am. Absolutely, I am.
Multi, 2 cents.
No double
Back to,
standards.
IEOs.
Back to IOs, because
Yeah,
you know there
so-
is the criticism that it's just basically a new way of disguising an ICO.
Right, but an ICO is also necessary. So as one who was involved with helping our client raise over $2 billion in ICOs, and some of the names are big and legitimate and
Like
credible,
Vega Nation.
like Bancor, like Status IM, HDAC, Syrian Labs, PumaPay, Celsius, and many others, I can tell you that you know, one of the biggest problems was credibility, the ability to vet them,
Trust.
due diligence, and such. And if the exchanges are actually helping us and the you know, potential investors with that, that's already a blessing, and I see it as a step up. Nevertheless, we know that, you know, what, to my opinion, what killed the ICO boom back in 2018 was that too many scammers were you know, seizing this opportunity to just take money from people for illegitimate
Exactly, and
purposes.
and the fear is because, you know, guys, at the end of the day, it's as simple as the bad reputation eventually runs deep. It does
Right.
stick with you. Yeah.
So this is going to help, you know, startups and companies get liquidity, and if we can get some of the bad companies and the bad, you know, people get filtered out, that's already, you know, a positive for me. So
This is a
I like
shout
it.
out to all the change makers in the world, people who claim to be change makers. There's an actual problem here on trust and transparency in this incredible new innovative space. And we need people to rise up to the occasion, and for us to find a way, a legitimate way that is community-based, that is voting-based, that is transparent,
Honey, I never
to
want
vet
you to end, but
ICOs.
I never want you to end. But the phrase, we need people to rise up, you will learn how problematic that is.
I am
sometimes.
optimistic about humanity.
And again, while I don't disagree, I think that the bigger problem is knowledge and understanding. I think that even with IEOs, most of the tokens that are being pushed through these platforms are still tokens that have no actual use case, that have no revenue accruing within the network, within the token, and most people who buy in for a quick profit and not by looking at a real value that such a network can create.
Okay. And you're totally right, and it's trust and it's regulations, and I want to move us to then the Bitcoin.
And it's education,
And it's
educating
education,
the
but
masses.
apropos education, folks, the Bitcoin ETF was back in the news this week with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, posting earlier this week that it is delaying, yet again, its decision on the VanEck and SolidX Bitcoin ETF proposal. The agency will have until August 19th, 2019, delays till August make me smile, either approve, reject, or delay the decision yet again. If it is delayed a third time, the agency will have to reach a final decision by October 19th, 2019. I mean, come on, the VanEck ETF has been considered one of the industry's best shots, receiving approval for such a product, as trailblazers like the Winklevosses own have failed alongside numerous others. Now, would it be right to say that an ETF approval isn't as important to the sphere as once we thought it might be? I disagree.
I want it not to go through.
I gotta tell you though,
honestly.
honey, coming back from New York, okay? And the fact that a lot, first of all, you know, Hester Peirce was there. She's an SEC commissioner. She may be the only one.
There's
who
another
was-
one.
She was vocal about it.
She's very vocal about it. She's the one I don't understand my colleagues. I don't
AKA
understand.
Crypto Mom.
AKA Crypto Mom. But it really doesn't seem like it's going to happen anytime soon. And I tend to agree with, you know, Yaniv. I think that sometimes in order to break the system, you got to enter the system. You got to do it from within. And until the sphere is regulated, even a little bit, you know, you're still going to get, first of all, tons of bad players in it. Now, what is holding back I want to ask you guys about the delays. Do we think they're trying to just, there's something called in politics, let's status quo the situation, okay? And that's something you can drag on and drag on and drag on and drag on. It's like, women know it as a really bad relationship. But that said, is this what's going on?
So, you know, Bloomberg just released an article with the title, "Where Millennials Go, Capitalism Will Follow. capitalism is going vegan. Now, that's not with regards to veganation. I swear to God, you could Google it. But the point is that
capitalism going vegan?
Capitalism is going vegan.
She thinks so.
Okay. So, go ahead.
But regardless, is millennials are entering this new era where they have no place in the current financial markets. The status quo right now is betted against them. And so more and more millennials are turning to crypto. And so crypto is the future. And I believe in crypto as the way for millennials to find their place in this world. And so I hope this ETF doesn't go through and it fails, because I am of the belief that we have to throw the old system away. There's no way to combine it. It is so corrupt. It is so staged against us.
You cannot get the entire world with that mantra.
We could get the millennials, and that's exactly Bloomberg's point. If you look at millennials,
I
they're
love you,
interested
but I mean,
in
do we think we
vegan,
can get the
they're
millennials?
interested in sustainability, they're interested in fairness, in universal
I'm going
basic
to play devil's
income.
advocate and sleeping.
I believe in the millennials, in our generation. I want to live beyond 40 years old.
I believe in the millennials as well, but they're far from what you're talking. They are growing in numbers in terms of adoption of cryptocurrency, but the numbers are still extremely low. And
they're higher than adults, though.
No.
If you look at percentages among millennials, they use crypto more than people above 50 years old.
Yeah, but
Obviously.
1% is more than
They use most technology
0.1%.
more than like,
Yeah,
Exactly
people
to
over
my
50.
point. And so they will be the determinants of
In
where
50
the economies
years,
go in the
in
future.
25, 50 years.
No, in the next 7 to 8 years.
I believe in the millennials. I think that they are beautiful. As far as ETFs,
You have a millennial at home.
yes.
Okay, go ahead.
As far as ETFs, and I have enough gray hair to remember, SLV and GLD, which are the ETFs for gold and silver when they came out. It's going to inject an amazing amount of liquidity into the system. It's going to help us. It's going to bring the mainstream. It is something that we need. With that said, I don't see how the American government or the SEC has any interest whatsoever.
I tend to agree, and especially under this administration. I don't think it's going to
approving such an ETF. I don't see it's happening anytime soon.
Yeah.
And I really hope that I'm wrong here, because this is definitely necessary.
No, I hope you're right. I really am rooting for it not to go through. It will be great news for the future.
I think he
of
might be
mankind.
right about this, but he's wrong about Game of Thrones. I'm going to keep sticking with him. I'm not going to die.
If we
Why-
keep
why-
talking
why do you
about
think
Game of
ETF
Thrones, I'm gonna go. I never
No, no, no,
watched
no, no,
an episode.
I'm
It's
interested.
okay.
What do
Nobody
you
stole
think
8 years
ETF
of
is
your life.
bad? I understand why it's not, why you're, not pushing through, but why is it bad?
It's not bad. I just don't think it's helpful for the overall crypto market. I think we have to stop playing. Banks have basically, the top 7 banks have been basically playing the game of money in this world. That's the reason why there's still climate change, pollution, massive poverty all over the world. I believe they are the source of evil, and allocation of capital on this planet is why we have all these problems today. And so an ETF is a product, it's an invention of those big banks. They're bored, they're playing with their own money, they're inventing things we don't need. It's just an unnecessary complication.
Yeah, I know, but for
an
what you want to
unnecessary
happen,
future.
you need a full-blown revolution. I mean, let me
Absolutely,
let me
and there
push
will
this
be
to the
one.
limit with people in the streets. But that's, look, you cannot.
It's happening. If you guys don't, everywhere around the world there's instability. People are becoming aware. I mean, taxi drivers in New York, did you see the article that while millions of taxi drivers in New York were losing thousands of dollars, going into debt, people in Wall Street were making money off of it.
And those taxi drivers are not marching in the streets right now.
They will very soon when they have no more money, no more income, they're desperate. That's what's going to happen.
To my opinion, and I do say my opinion, I think it's not the banks themselves, but rather the power that they have. I think power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. The power to create money out of thin air is something that cannot be given to banks or anyone else for that matter. And that's why I think Bitcoin and other kind of store of value crypto assets are a good thing, even in the hands of a bank. Banks do provide helpful services. They provide credit, they provide access to financial services. Not anywhere, I agree, but they do
How do
provide.
they provide the credit? I mean, it's who came first, the chicken or the egg? They're giving credit off of money they created off of thin air.
If I store my money at the bank and I get interest and they loan it in a bigger interest, that's also a service that was given without
that
printing
is a
any money.
source given off of the money they created out of thin
Not-
air that you're saying you're
loans,
against.
Loans existed way before money printing. Okay?
Loan of value, not loan of money.
Come on,
Loan
he's,
of value
he's right in that
existed.
respect, and the first thing that comes to mind is Shakespeare.
True, but we're talking about
ahead.
loans of money. Loans existed,
Money-
but they were not
yeah, but
in
money
form of
has value
money.
because we give it value. Okay, we give money value.
All kinds of money.
value.
All
All
kinds
kinds
of
of money.
Exactly, and that's the idea behind crypto: is that a community rallies around a currency to give it
I know,
value.
but I want to
the right currency.
I know, but because so you guys don't get a room, I want to get us moving forward, and we're going now. Apropos power corrupts. Okay, we got to touch on this guy. So Craig Wright.
Satoshi.
This week, and you know what I'm talking about in the headlines, after he filed with the U.S. Copyright Office in order to be recognized as the author of the Bitcoin white paper, Fake Toshi, as many like to call him, claimed that the registration issued by the U.S. Copyright Office recognized Wright as the author under the pseudonym Satoshi Nakamoto of both the white paper and code. Now that led to the Copyright Office issuing a rare, this is rare, folks, okay? They actually came out a few days later stating that, as a general rule, and I'm quoting them, the Copyright Office, when Copyright Office receives an application for registration, the claimant certifies as to the truth of the statements made in the submitted materials. The Copyright Office does not investigate the truth of any statement made. Now, I have a 5-year-old, okay? I'm going with this somewhere, who tends to constantly fight with his father. And my line to his father is, don't engage. Right. Now, I'm wondering with you guys, why do we keep engaging with Craig Wright? Why does this keep happening? How the heck did, his coin go up 200% after? Yeah, go.
So just before we start,
Please.
The same office responded late last night.
Same. So
saying that they're disqualifying any kind of
They
copyright
disengaged.
claim.
they disengaged.
They completely disengaged and shut him completely down. Obviously, the reason that we're still giving this guy any kind of attention is because he created something that still, for some reason, has value, and it did jump 220%. After he did what he did, and since this
That's a massive power for a headline.
yeah, it's a massive power for a headline. Someone did a lot of money on this, assuming him. And that's still something to be reckoned with, to talk about.
Is the sphere, basically doomed to be the place like the rest of the world where big tweeting egos?
You're seeing activists doing that to Apple share or Tesla share. Why not crypto?
Yeah. Okay. Going
How's
around
that
the
different?
table. Hold on.
Part of the essence of the Bitcoin white paper was that the author was anonymous, is anonymous, and will stay anonymous. And it was very intentional because he was arguing for decentralization of power. And Craig Wright over here, trying to take credit for the white paper, shows that he's trying to amass power, which is exactly opposite to the ideology, the vision of Bitcoin. So obviously he's a fake. Obviously it's not in line with the Bitcoin ethos.
Be careful, you
and
might get
it's
sued.
not. And obviously it's gonna die down, but Bitcoin does remain nameless, and it's beautiful, and it's a framework for us to move forward,
As a journalist
so
and a
that
human
not one
being,
individual.
I can tell you that people will keep trying to figure out who he, she, or they were.
It's intriguing.
Okay,
It's
and
intriguing.
that's going to keep the market going.
But it's fantastic that he's
Moti is the
anonymous.
co-founder of Blonde 2.0.
Co-CEO.
Sorry, co-CEO. You're right. I'm fascinated from a PR point of view. I mean, you look at this, and I'm asking you, because it seems to be working for him when it comes to generating traffic.
Right.
We're all talking about it. As
Well,
as a
yeah,
PR
listen.
person, what would you say to him as a strategy?
Good
or-
job. That's what I would say to him. Well, listen. Obviously, the guy is a clown, but he's not the only clown in the sector. John McAfee is a bigger clown, and in a world where Trump is the president, I'm not surprised of anything anymore. So I just choose to ignore it. But many people follow this clownness, and I wish them best of luck.
Oh, okay.
No, but isn't it like the comic relief of like?
No, entirely. It's entirely
It's the comic relief of this, and
Right.
I assume it's the comic relief of like
the industry.
general industry. So
No,
I don't know. Like I don't.
I mean, and everybody needs one.
But the fact is that, which is interesting, that it did go up 200%. So somebody is buying into it for some reason.
I had a theory about that, but it's just a theory, and
What's
it's
your
not
theory?
sourced, and it's either his backer or, again, I have no sources about this. Okay, I don't have the information, but it's so fishy on so many levels. That said, guys, I'm actually I want to end this day on a happy note because it's a landmark anniversary day, actually week. Okay, today's May 23rd. Yesterday, approximately 9 years ago. Is what some consider to be the first truly impactful Bitcoin purchase. On this week, 2010, Laszlo Hanyes, successfully purchased 2 pizzas for a mere 10,000 Bitcoins. Yes.
Is he sorry? No.
Wait. You're right. And one can only assume that he has a kid, by the way. If I were his kid, my God. He regrets that purchase just slightly. But we were not the only ones to, come up with this, because Bitcoin or cryptos went mainstream over this month. I don't know if you know 60 Minutes, CBS 60 Minutes had a full-blown piece on them. Ladies and gentlemen, that is as mainstream media as it gets. And I want to show you Anderson Cooper of 60 Minutes, CBS, first addressing the buy with Laszlo. Let's take a look.
How'd you get this idea to trade Bitcoin for pizza?
I just honestly thought it would be really cool if I could say, hey, I just traded this, open source internet money for a real world good. And I thought, what better thing than food? Food is a basic necessity. And, pizza, every geek understands pizza.
So how did you actually buy a pizza?
I just posted on the forum. I said, if anybody's interested, I'm offering 10,000 Bitcoins in exchange for some pizza. And somebody there said, hey, I'll take you up on that offer. So I sent him the 10,000 Bitcoin. I said, okay, here it is. I'm waiting for my pizza. And, he phoned it in. He paid with his credit card, and the pizza showed up at my door. Here you can see the original pizzas, and that's my daughter's hand. She was a year old.
Wow. So you paid 10,000 Bitcoins for one pizza?
It was 2 pizzas, actually.
Oh, you got 2 pizzas out of it.
And, maybe the person spent $30, $40, something like that.
What would it be worth today?
$80 million, I don't know.
$80 million.
A lot. People laugh at that, but at the time it wasn't worth anything.
Right. Is it true some people celebrate the anniversary of the day you bought the pizza?
Yeah, May 22nd, Bitcoin Pizza Day. So
It's called Bitcoin Pizza Day?
it is.
Raise your pizza. Raise your pizza. Raise your pizza. Toast to the one and only Laszlo. Thanks for being here and coming, and thanks for inspiring International Bitcoin Pizza Day. This is awesome. Cheers to you.
That's kind of cool, though, that around the world, people who know about it celebrate what you did, May 22nd.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool to kind of have a holiday in my honor.
I'm going to mark it down on my calendar.
Oh, poor Laszlo. But it is, and we'll break this down, it is pizza. Whoa, hold on. I think we've got to deliver here. It is time to bring in Benny, the blockchain bartender, with a special delivery.
Oh my God.
Now, we got an issue here.
It's not vegan, and I am so disappointed in
I
you
have
guys
2 words for
because
him. Paleo diet. This is why I didn't touch pizza in 8 years.
First of all, the man
Take
was,
that.
okay,
Thank
yeah,
you.
you can put it next
Terrible.
Vegan, not eating. Thank you. Okay.
next
So we got a
time
vegan and we got a
pizza.
very healthy man next to you who hasn't had pizza. I know people like that for many, many years. But it is Bitcoin Pizza Day. Thank you, my dear. Thank you, my sister. Okay.
Give me a pizza. I live for pizza.
I know, I live for pizza. I live for pizza when I'm drunk. But that said, First of all, Laszlo would have had $800 million worth of Bitcoin. I know.
He can pay back the Bitfinex.
And the thing is, we live in a digital age where his daughter, I'm sure it's not him waking up sweating and crying at night, rather his daughter is probably saying, idiot.
He must be tormented. It's such a terrible
I don't
feeling.
know. I don't know.
It's
Maybe the pizzas
tormenting.
were
Was it all his
fabulous.
Bitcoin? Like, was it everything he owned?
All the Bitcoin.
Ay.
Ay, ay, ay. But we got Pizza International Day. You can put it there. Folks, okay. If you had 10,000 Bitcoins 10 years ago, what would you do with them, Yaniv?
Wow. I have no idea.
10 years ago.
Most people
10 years.
lost them, no? Somehow.
No, I bought my first one in 2013, so I can't even fathom, having such a big amount.
I mean, I know, soy milk, but what would you do with them? What would you do with 10 years ago?
It's hard to say. I would probably, 10 years ago I was in school, so I'd probably, be too busy to, actually go out and do a lot of work and like, what should I do with it? I would probably just hold on to it and be surprised one day, but
Moti,
who
I know
knows?
that you would never buy pizza with your with
That's
10,000 Bitcoin.
I would
10 years
probably
ago, maybe.
never
10 years
buy
ago, you
10,000
still,
Bitcoin as well 10 years ago. But if I had
Yes.
the Bitcoin, I would probably wouldn't know how to even transfer
to
it
do
to
with
somebody.
this.
I'll just sit on it and wait for it to
At least you
inflate
wouldn't
to
buy
800
pizza.
million.
Honey, what would you have done?
I
with it?
might have bought pizza.
Ladies and gentlemen of the sphere, I want to thank you. Raise your glasses. You've been fabulous. Here's to Bitcoin Pizza Day. There you go.
Cheers.
Salute. I know. May we all be as passionate and also mature as all of you. That was it for Blockchain and Booze on Pizza Bitcoin Week. There it was. Don't forget to check us out. We're sticking around like the cryptos, like Bitcoin, and we will be right back.